Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Rayman Origins. In this update we're finally moving on to the desert of Dijeridoos. After having spent 3 updates in the jungle, now that we've picked that place clean, nothing left to do there, so let's be on our way. First thing you're probably going to notice upon entering the new world is that the background music for it has changed. And what a music it is! I've already said that the music in the game is superb, but this world really highlights the best moments of it. I feel it's fitting at the start of a music-themed world to give a shout out to the composer of the game, Christoph Herral and Billy Martin, because they did a brilliant job even though they had to compose all the music in just 3 months. It's absolutely staggering what they did. Anyways, the first level starts with the magician, and he's telling us about the hearts, which is weird, because by now you'd have picked up dozens of them, probably realized what they do. But he does raise a fair point, because I myself forgot to say that any additional hearts you pick up if you already have one give you additional lumps. So that's good to keep in mind. Something I also forgot to show is this attack, this cartwheel thing, that you perform by pressing down and attack, just as you're about to hit the ground when you come at it at an angle. It's kind of difficult to explain, and it's difficult to pull off as well, so it can be marginally useful in some situations, but I'm probably not going to use it a whole lot in this Let's Play. First nod to the music here. You can run on the string, which makes a tune, and there's also these waveform violins that will hurt you if you touch them. But most importantly, they're actually tuned to the music you're hearing in the background. That actually goes with any lumps you find as well. Every single lump in this game has been tuned to a single note that goes with the music in the level that you're playing. Even if you weren't crazy about the music, you just have to appreciate that kind of effort. Aside from that, we have new enemies because, of course, just about everything's been changed. The most widespread enemy we're going to see in these first videos are these red fat birds that are in no way angry at all. No sir. Any similarities to other video game birds, living or dead, are purely coincidental or blatant plagiarism. I mean, listen to those violins, isn't that just incredibly well done? I don't think any game has ever put this much effort in its sound design. That's just mind-blowing to say the least. Okay, we can turn those violins off to reach the high ground, which will reveal a bag of goodies. All the Balbo lumps have been replaced by bags. Just about every world has its own counterpart for different level elements, so you won't get bored to look at Balbo lumps every single time. Well, there's a skull coin down there, so we have to go back and get it. I think I mentioned this in the jungle videos, but just to be sure, the skull coins are always worth 25 lumps. Even if I'd picked it up after taking the lump key bonus, it wouldn't have made any difference at all. Well, we found Batilla's sister number 1, Hallelujah, and it's a very much similar section to the one we saw before, only this time the screen tries to catch up to you, and if it does, you're dead, so it's more like the tricky treasure map in that respect, but a lot easier. You can pretty much dawdle around all you want, and it's not gonna be able to catch you unless you're very, very slow. You could probably walk through this entire segment. Of course, we're not doing that. And what, the thing can fly now? Well, he's gravely mistaken if he thinks that's gonna keep us from our next power-up. And our second power-up is flying, which was in Rayman 1 and also 2, I believe also in 3. Pretty much every Rayman game had it. Not so much flying as hovering. You press the jump button and you can float indefinitely in the air until you hit the ground, or fall down a pit, of course. It's very useful. It's probably the best ability in the game aside from attacking, because it can save you from sticky situations, and also it can help you speedrun through certain segments, even though it generally just slows you down. We'll probably see examples of that later on. Hey, put a cork on it. I'm coming. I'm just getting these lumps over here. Jeez. Oh wow, those birds tumbled like dominoes. Just love this secret area. And like I said previously, the secrets do get more interesting. The jungle wasn't very imaginative with them, but already in the desert we can see there's more variety in them, and they will be more thought out from this point onwards. I also believe that this is maybe the only level in the game where the final cage isn't found in a separate screen entirely, but it's actually a part of the previous section that we were in. Not sure about that, so don't quote me on it, but it's not very common in the game at the very least. So there's our introduction to the desert. Got all the lumps, and we unlocked a new character, so now we can move on to the next world. Or can we? Just a second. Okay, now it works. For some reason the game glitched out there, didn't want to pave the path through the next world, so I had to beat the first level again. But now we can move on to Best Original Score. You may think that sounds a bit complacent, you may even say it's tooting your own horn. But it isn't. It's simply stating out a simple, objective fact.
This day is way out of hand. Stay unturned way.
Our friend the magician here is showering us with more useless information. You already know how to break cages at this point. If you didn't, you wouldn't have made it past the first stage, so it's completely pointless. And did you just call us goody two-shoes? What's up with that? Yeah, you go get your popcorn and we'll keep on moving. Best Original Score, of course, is a musical thief level as well. We also have these new birds that appear on staves, or staffs, and whenever you step on them, they drop down a whole tone. If you stay on them for too long, they drop off the stave entirely, but they will be replaced by a new bird pretty shortly. We also have another type of bird. The first one functions as a platform. These ones are more like the bouncy platforms we saw in the gibberish jungle. Like I said before, just about everything's being replaced by something that fits the theme better. Although what one-eyed birds have to do with music is anybody's guess. Occasionally there are buttons that you can press to make a stave appear with the birds on it. This time we actually do need it to get the coin up there, because there's one of those one-eyed birds. Ground stumps that, and you gain access to higher ground. Sounds like another secret area. This one is pretty easy to find. The piano platform, you may have noticed, also generates a sound when you step on them. It's much like the string we saw earlier. Now that we have a clear view of the background, I suggest you check that out. It's pretty sweet. There are all these gramophones pumping out some tunes. All of the levels have great back and foregrounds, but I just like this one a lot. Behold, the suicidal lectus. Why do I go through the trouble of saving them if they're just gonna drop off the cliffs like lemmings on ecstasy? Oh right, another new enemy type. Can't jump on them because they have a spiky helmet, so we'll just give them a quick punch, and I could have just made them fly away if I'd pressed that button and taken the stave away from under them, but where's the fun in that? I just enjoy punching things in the face generally, don't you? Make sure to check out every bird for any secrets. Whenever you jump on them, they might release something. This one's actually holding a coin. And there we can see the bird falling off the stave. It's shortly replaced by another one, but occasionally they're positioned over an endless pit, so you can probably see why it might not be a good idea to step on them if that's the case. So many Lumpkin bonuses around here. Are you getting sick of that tune yet? You can turn off the electricity here, but I'm not really sure why you'd do that. It's not exactly dangerous. You can get the heart with a powered up punch, and these lumps can be collected without a problem at all. So, not really sure why that's there. Maybe just to make it easier. You know what? I'm not gonna kill that one bird over there. I'm just gonna let him sleep. You know, I hate to sound cocky, but that went really well. I wish every Lumpkin bonus went as well as that one. That looked pretty sweet. Yeah, yes, I know I left 4 lumps behind, but really, we're not gonna need them. This world is pretty generous with its lumps. This secret is probably the hardest one to find in the entire desert, but it's also the sweetest looking. It's a shame they didn't use this effect for any of the actual levels. I'm pretty sure it's limited to just this one secret area. I think they missed a chance there, really. You don't need these birds here to proceed, but of course the last one of them holds some lumps. Always check everything. Aw, I really wanted to show how the piano works, and then I picked one that doesn't work. What a shame. More staves, more birds. Just get rid of them. We have way more lumps than we need. So we're just gonna break the cage and release those electoons so we can be done with this level. From now on, I'm just gonna cut to the chase of each of these lump sequences at the end of each level. I thought speeding them up was a good idea, but after a while even that got boring to watch. So you could imagine how tiresome it gets when you have to go through it real time every time. Fun fact, the music actually starts the moment you press that switch. You can also bypass it entirely, but then the music's gonna start off on its own about the time you're halfway through the pit here. Dijeridoos plays a lot with our newly found power-up, as you can see. Lots of wind pipes, lots of places where you can hover in the air. I used to not like it, but nowadays I find it's a pretty sweet level, all things considered. It's not entirely original, and there are plenty of games that use the same gimmick, but that doesn't really bother me at all. The reason I didn't like it is that it actually slows you down a lot. It's not a fast level. You can't move forward very quickly, and the wind will slow you down, no matter what you try. And also push you back sometimes when you want to collect some lumps. I mean, how annoying is that? Before we move on, there's a secret up here, so let's check it out. Well, we could kill those livid stones by ourselves, but I much more prefer doing this. The second switch will activate another wind pipe that will remain active until you press the button again. The first one will actually be active for only a few seconds, so don't accidentally press it again and step to the left, or you'll be sent to the spikes yourself. Now you could go at pretty fast speed on this water slide if you let this bird over here push you backwards. I'm not gonna do that because it's a quick way to kill yourself. And also there's another bird trying to push you in spikes. And it's pretty dangerous. You can toy around with it a bit, but it's probably not worth the risk. more drums that we're gonna ground stomp. You should always ground stomp everything to make sure there isn't anything hidden out of sight, because there usually is. Speaking of looking for treasure, there are these 3 windpipes that suck you in and throw you back to where you were before. I tried looking through all of them, but there's nothing inside them, no secret treasure, no nothing, so they're just there to waste your time. Now, this is actually kind of tricky. There's that very tempting coin in the middle you definitely want to get, but the wind alternates between the sides and the middle. So the timing on this one is kind of tricky, because if you time it wrong, the middle section that you want to use for getting the coin will disappear, which will leave you hovering to your doom with no hopes of escape. And of course there had to be a secret area that utilizes the wind. It's not very difficult. I wish there was more to it than just one enemy. I think it could have been better if there were more enemies. Would have been a bit more challenging, but what are you gonna do? Oh, what am I doing? Don't want to go down there, that's just an endless pit. No secrets there. We have some more of those windpipes, but once again, nothing inside them, so just avoid them altogether. Won't do you any good, just slow you down. Now this segment, there are some lums below that I really don't need, but I just wanted to show this segment because it's given me so much trouble before. There's the one bird at the very bottom that I almost hit, and he could be a serious pain. If it hits you, you'll be sent off to the opposite direction you're facing, and there will be nowhere near enough time to reactivate the hovering. I've managed to do it once by sheer luck, so I thought it could be a good speedrunning trick, but really it's just very, very tricky and very hard. I suggest you just avoid that place altogether. Even if you don't get those few lums, if you have any luck with the Lum King bonuses and get all the coins in the level, you'll have more than enough to get the Electoons. Speaking of lums, there's one more Lum King bonus hidden in plain sight over here. And we already had more than we needed, so yes, the desert is not very difficult when it comes to collecting the Lum Electoons. Whoa, that was close. Be careful about jumping on enemies when there's an upward draft, otherwise you get sent flying higher than you'd hoped, and if you're under one of those spiky birds, well, you can probably see what will happen. Well, we got through unscathed, we got everything from the level, no need to return here, which is nice. I mean, the levels are enjoyable, but if I could get these on my first go, well, I'm not really complaining. So that's gonna wrap things up for our first video of the Desert of Dijeridoos. Tune in next time for some more exciting stuff. Get it? Tune in. Tune in. I'll show myself out.